Welcome to the second hour of the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith, and I appreciate all of you on the Super Talk text line helping to educate me on how what we're doing in terms of spending is conservative. 615-737-9986. I would have settled for just sane. Forget conservative. The bottom line is that we've been running, call it $1.8 trillion deficits year over year since COVID. We simply can't sustain it, but we also can't cut anything. And what I find absolutely wild, first I have to mention that John in Lawrenceburg, I'll leave this for your consideration, said, Coach Josh Heupel's chin is easier to find than Bama's ability to tackle a loudmouth quarterback. Facts. That checks out. But where I am right now is I don't think that the Republicans, one, they haven't cut spending. We've established that. All of y'all are on the same page, it appears, that we're not doing a good job here. Walking the talk of fiscal conservatism. I think we've kind of just sort of let that go. But then we've said, you know what we are excited about? Tariffs. We love us some tariffs. The GOP's social media account on the X machine. You can go check mine out at D. Cameron Smith. I've retweeted it several times because I find it so bizarre that Republicans are bragging about raising billions of dollars in government revenue. Now, it's pretty clear to anyone that's paying attention, the fun game is to be who pays tariffs. The answer to this point has been companies. So it's a corporate tax. The companies that are importing stuff pay the tax. They have yet to figure out, okay, how do we price our product? Because if these extra taxes, if we have to eat them, it cuts into our profits. That's true. If we pass them to consumers, it makes prices higher, and then they may go with a competitor. So everybody's kind of hanging out and really uncomfortable right now, and that's why the prices haven't just skyrocketed through the roof. I was wrong about that. I thought that immediately corporations would just everyone would pass them through, and they haven't. So basically you have a corporate tax that the Republicans are bragging about that will ultimately become an individual tax or consumer tax. So that's where we find ourselves, and I'm concerned that I just don't understand how this is conservative of saying, hey, well, the answer here to fix the economy is to raise taxes. Now, that can help with the deficit. That we saw some figures come out that said, hey, these tariffs will actually reduce the deficit. I want to say it was like $3 trillion. I think that's a good thing on the spending front, right? Like, that's it. But like 8695 pointed out coffee is up over 100%. I wrote a column about this months ago over at the Tennessean about how ridiculous it is to tariff coffee because we don't actually grow that much coffee in the United States. We can't. We just don't have enough here to supply our demand. 0544 says, is this due to liberal? Well, if by liberal you mean I want to see the federal government spend less and tax us less, yes, but that's kind of confusing because that's what I thought a conservative was. So Mike, he maybe can educate me on tariffs. He's been waiting patiently. Mike, help me understand how tariffs are a conservative thing.
Well, it's very simple. We have a trade deficit.
Yeah.
Big time before Trump was elected.
Yeah.
In other words, we've been ripped off by countries all over the world for decades. They take advantage of us. We sell our goods to them, and they get it for cheap, and then we have to buy their goods and have to pay a lot more. So the whole tariff thing is about let's build it in America, and if you build it in America, you pay zero tariffs. So corporations, businesses that say, you know what, I'm going to sell this to China, I'm going to sell this to the European Union, I'm going to sell this to India, I am not going to have to pay a dime in tariffs. And that's what Trump is saying.
So Mike, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you know what has happened to the trade deficit since these tariffs?
Gone down.
No, that's actually not true.
It's gone down because since January 1st, you have to let these things play out. You can't just say, like we did back in April, oh my God, these tariffs are going to destroy the world. Which happened? Stock market crashed because the elites of the world and everybody else that hates Trump around the world, including our own country, things don't happen overnight. It takes time.
Yeah.
That's why Trump got all these deals here recently with the EU, with a lot of big name, Japan, a bunch of countries.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, an appellate court in Washington D.C. says you can't put tariffs on anybody.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to create economic chaos.
So, Mike, I'm not upset. I'm just trying to understand. So when I'm reading that the trade deficit has actually increased, I'm not reading that correctly?
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Has the national debt increased?
Yes.
Yes. And because, you know why? We don't have enough tax revenue. And one of the reasons is because of tariffs.
Whoa. Wait a minute. You're talking to a conservative, and you're saying the issue is we need more taxes?
We need taxes from other nations paying for it, not us.
They don't pay for that.
And what I'm telling you, if you think that getting rid of tariffs and going back to the old ways of letting countries rip us off is the way to go, then go back and get Joe Biden out of his deathbed and reelect him.
But Mike, help me out here. We're spending more than when Joe Biden was in office. That's true, right?
Yes, and you know who's responsible for that? The weak-kneed Republican Senate. That's who's responsible.
Okay, I would say that everybody is responsible because, like, Trump signed the appropriations bills, right?
He has to.
He has to.
He has to. Because guess what? We have government shutdown. Now, guess what Trump's going to do this time? Because he's in his last term.
Okay.
We're coming up here in 2 weeks with another CR, right? Or in September, CR.
Yeah.
Who's going to cave? You know who's going to cave? The Republicans. The Republican Senate, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a smart man. He's a businessman. He knows he has to now deal in his second term with these dumb, stupid Republicans that let the Democrats run roughshod on them.
Well, Mike, I hear you, and I think that you're right on a lot of that. But my question is, you told me that the reason we needed these tariffs was because of the trade deficit, and since the tariffs, our exports have gone way down. Our imports, we haven't imported as much. So like that, but that impact is that the trade deficit has gone up.
Why do you think these countries signed off on their deals with Trump? Why? Why do you think they did? Why do you think all these tariff deals, everything, all around the world, why are they signing them with Trump? Why do you think?
Well, because they want to trade?
Yes. With who?
So what I'm trying to understand, though, is tariffs were supposed to address the trade deficit, and it's gone up, but you're saying it will go down. But how will that work if we're not going to export as much? Because
when he got those Europeans to cough up 5% more to do in their defense, and all of a sudden they're starting to buy our defense contractor, Americans building defense stuff in the U.S., guess what? It creates jobs, and then it creates money in the U.S.
Okay.
And that's what he did. He made them realize that, you know what? The U.S. is not going to defend you anymore. You cough up your money through tariffs.
Okay.
Because, tariffs, if you want free trade, then be free trade.
Yeah. Like, that's
And
where
guess
Republicans
what?
have been for a long time, is that we think that
No,
people
but-
know how to spend their money better than the government, right?
No, the Rhino Republicans say they want free trade and no tariffs.
So
The Rhinos.
So
They're part of the
Rhinos want-
Democrat Party.
Hang on, Mike.
Part
You've
of the-
talked a lot. Let me ask you a question. So it's Rhino to want consumers to make decisions with their money and have low taxes.
No, Rhinos don't want the consumers to make any decisions for themselves. Rhinos are in bed with Democrats.
Okay, but like, I'm talking about conservative ideas, right? That's let you spend your money the way you want to without government interference. That's conservative, right?
I absolutely, I agree with that.
Okay.
And you've got to live in a real world. You got to live in a real world. You're living with a government that is run by the Senate named John Thune and
Okay.
a bunch of Bukurskis and what else, another bunch of rhinos, including Marsha Blackburn and maybe Bill Haggerty. I think they're probably conservative, but you know what? They're kind of quiet about all this. And you know what? What's really scares me is that it's Donald Trump that's trying to, do the right thing for our country.
Mhm.
And you know what? Tariffs are part of it. He's stopping these other countries that have been ripping us off for years that the Democrats have run and the Rhino Republicans have run.
So I got one more question for you, Mike, and then I got to let you go because we got to take a break. How do you feel when President Trump, for example, like just ignores the law, like with the TikTok ban, where Congress has passed a law, he signed it into law, and then he's like, nah, but I kind of like it. Like, are we cool with that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it's AI. Maybe you're cool with AI saying he's dead and that the White House window is open.
Hang on. So TikTok, the law that was passed by Congress was that the ByteDance had to either find a buyer domestically for TikTok or they had to basically shut down. Like, that law was passed, and then Trump has said, well, but I'm not going to enforce it. Like, is that okay?
So what you're saying is that Trump is against America.
I'm saying he's not enforcing the law. That's the fact. Are we okay with that, though?
Oh, so you're saying that he didn't enforce the law. That's the fact. So what you're saying is Trump is anti-American.
I'm saying he didn't enforce this law that was passed by
But
Congress.
he's anti-American.
We don't like Democrats not following the law. Is it okay if Republicans do
Is
it?
Trump anti-American, not enforcing the law?
I don't know, but he's not enforcing the law. I'm asking you if you're okay with that. If that's something
Did he enforce the border law?
I'm asking about this law. Is this conservative? Is that what
Why
you
are
want?
you just asking this particular question on this one subject?
Because
Did
that's the
Donald
issue.
Trump enforce the law on the border?
Yes. Now you answer
Okay.
my question. Is it okay for him not to enforce laws just because he doesn't want to?
What are you talking about? Are you saying that this president is a dictator?
I'm saying the law says you have to shut this down.
So if a judge says you have to shut this down, are you agreeing with the appellate's court that he has to shut tariffs down? He has to.
That's how we do the checks and balances in the government, right?
Checks and balances,
Yeah.
right? So we have Supreme Court, we have appellate courts, and we have road judges running our country. Do you agree with that?
No, but I appreciate the call, Mike. I think, Mike and I kind of reached an impasse and we got to take a break. But I do want to talk about this because I'm trying to get educated. I'm trying to understand. And when I hear, well, this is designed to close the trade deficit, that's why we're doing it. And then I look at it and say, well, the trade deficit's actually expanding. So the thing you're doing is not accomplishing the goal you said it was here for. I'm not mad about it. I just want to understand. So maybe Brian, he's here to talk about the deficit, and Scott has some thoughts that he wants to relay to Mike, and I'll get you guys time, but we got to take a break now. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. Welcome back, y'all. I really appreciate the exchange with Mike, and I understand that some of y'all, may have not thought that, Mike was being consistent, but look, it's important for conservatives and Republicans and whatever other version of all this political stuff to at least have the conversation, right? I mean, and Mike was getting kind of upset, and there's nothing to get upset about. Mike was asking me things like, well, hey, do you think Trump is enforce the immigration law. Yes, I think that's great. I love that. I think it's amazing. And that's where you start, is you enforce the law, and then if you don't like the way the law is enforced, then you change the law in Congress. That's how this is supposed to work. And, 0899 said, who gives a bleep about TikTok? There's plenty of laws that aren't enforced. Well, then we probably shouldn't have those laws, right? You know where you go to do that? Congress. I don't think we would abide a Democrat just ignoring the law and saying, I'm not going to enforce that. I don't like it. So, yes, it was duly enacted law. It passed both houses of Congress and was signed by the president. But I just don't feel it, Like, that's crazy. We shouldn't support that. Like, and it doesn't mean you have to hate everything everybody does. But I do think that, like, the expectation that if Congress passes the law and the president signs it, we should enforce it or change it is a pretty basic threshold. I mean, maybe you guys disagree. Like, maybe that's not a thing anymore. Maybe Republicans, it's like, okay, cool. Like, well, if we like the guy, then he can do whatever he wants. But I don't think that we're going to feel that way when it's not Trump, right? And that's a little concerning. Brian has some thoughts on the deficit. Maybe he can help educate me. Brian, we got about a minute before the break, so let me know what you got.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think the deficit's ever going to get taken care of until we clean up the corruption.
Okay.
I think that things like congressmen and senators, no matter how good they are, they don't need to be career politicians. We need to have term limits, number one. Number two, there's a reason why.
Why do you think we don't toss them out?
Well, Congress has to be the one to pass the law. We have to force them.
I'm saying that, like, term limits are artificially tossing them out. They're saying you can't run again. But, we could always just say, hey, you've run too many times. We want to get rid of you. Why do you think we don't do that?
I wish we would. I think it's because the people need to be educated on it.
Sure. Okay.
But, the bigger problem with that is these people go in there and become millionaires because of insider trading. Now, that's illegal for you and I. They'll put us under the jail. But it's legal for them to do.
Well, it's technically illegal for them, too. Like, there's no congressional exemption.
It needs to stop. It's been going on way too long. You got special interest groups and insider trading, and hold everybody's feet to the fire. Now, as far as Trump and TikTok, yeah, he should abide by the law. But at the same time, I look at everything that they have put him through, including, Biden ignoring the border laws.
Yeah.
They've ignored some major laws. This is just TikTok. I don't like that he's not abiding by it, but at the same time, man, I can give him a pass.
Okay, that's a fair take. Well, I appreciate the call, Brian. I mean, that is certainly a take of, hey, the Biden administration declined to enforce a lot of laws. What's weird for me on this TikTok one is he signed it. If I'm correct, maybe it was Biden. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I thought it was him, and yet he's the one that's not enforced. It's weird, but that's a fair take to say, hey, I'll give him a pass. We got to take a break. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. Welcome back. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show. You guys have been educating me. I'm not sure where we've fallen on this. I'm sort of confused at how we can think that higher taxes are what we need and we're conservative. I don't get that. Jerry has been very patient. He has some thoughts on the deficit. Jerry, what do you got?
Well, my biggest thing that I've noticed from the first Trump administration is he hasn't really addressed the energy. I don't know if you remember the first couple of years of the first Trump administration when he unleashed the oil and the coal and brought the energy prices down. I mean, that was huge, and I probably did the best I ever did in my adult life.
Yeah, energy price is a big deal.
What's that?
Energy prices are a big deal. You're right.
A huge deal, and I just don't see that this time around. And not that they're, really, really bad, but I mean, if he can keep getting them down and unleashing them and letting them go after that, I think that's a huge help. And I mean, you said it earlier. As far as the taxes and a deficit. Really, I mean, the biggest thing is the spending.
Yeah.
And if the Republicans can't stop the spending, we're never going to. And I don't mean to sound fatalistic, but let's just hurry up and fall over the cliff then.
Yeah.
Because if we can't do it now, I mean, we're just not going to do it.
It's almost like if we need something to force us to change, because so far we've been able to just keep borrowing, right? And we just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and we know that we're spending $1 trillion on debt service, but we just kind of don't care. And I think until something forces us, we're just going to keep going. I mean, I think you're right, Jerry.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the call, and look, I think Jerry's on to something. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I hadn't heard that much about energy prices. I mean, I've been feeling it when I fill up my pickup truck. But, energy is a huge issue right now. It's not just a huge issue for, like, cars and transportation. It's a huge issue for everything. I mean, some of our biggest companies are companies that are exploding right now. The limiting factor to their innovation and growth is energy. It's not compute power. It's not, AI advances. It's energy. It's, do they have enough energy to meet the demand? And if the answer is no, we've got a problem. Scott has been super patient. He had some thoughts on what Mike had to say. What you got, Scott?
Well, the only part that Mike missed, in my opinion, is to educate, because we have a bunch of individuals that have no idea how business truly works.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the trade deficit is going to continue to grow right now, because you have a lot of people that would bite out their nose to spite their face against Trump, but that's not the whole issue. All these contracts, these are made years and years in advance, where it's no different if you own a car dealership and you want the Ford logo. You must agree to a contract of an allocation, which means you will take XYZ amount of vehicles every single year in this allocations, this many Mustangs, this many trucks, so on and so forth. Now, we've allowed these other countries to negotiate with us at next to nothing, and they give much smaller time frames and smaller orders. Now, America, come on, we're the largest business in the world. We consume more than anybody else.
We're the largest consumers. We're not the largest business. We're largest consumers on the planet. You're correct.
So therefore, we already want the allocation. We know our people are going to buy. Our people will go into debt like there's no problem. We are very uneducated people when it comes down to being fiscally responsible, as well as giving the people the true information. And the true information is the current numbers, these were negotiated back under the Biden administration as far as how much we were going to take from these other countries.
Right, but we changed that.
But these allocations are still already on the books.
Well, some of them are contracted, but the trade deficit is the delta between imports and exports.
It's already there.
So you're saying that we were already going to have an expanded trade deficit, and that the fact that we've had these tariffs hasn't actually reduced our imports?
Well, technically, you are absolutely correct when you say that, because nothing will change for at least another probably 12 to 18 months, because we're big babies across this world, where we are going to go
Scott,
ahead,
it has
we're going to
changed.
fight, we're going to posture. No,
Exports are down. American exports are down.
Yes, because you got posturing on both sides. The other countries don't want to go ahead and pull more merchandise, they don't want to buy more American stuff right now at a higher cost.
So you're telling me that tariffs are a good thing? Like, help me understand.
Okay. Some reason it feels like I'm talking to a child with you.
Okay.
It is a good thing in the long run. A kid will do things wrong. They will push.
But isn't the goal of tariffs to reduce the trade barriers on both sides?
It takes time to make a child listen and do things the right way. It's the same thing when you're doing business. Everybody thinks
if you're running a daycare,
they want the best deal. It is. We are running a daycare. But people aren't educated. It's no different. You talked about AI. AI is the scariest thing known to man, because somebody is behind there can plug in, if this equals this, this is now the outcome.
So do you think it's good for it's conservative for Republicans to bring in tax revenue, government revenue? Like we should expand taxes.
Government, hold on. Taxes we're talking two different things, because technically taxes, they're a very slippery slope, and ultimately we should be making money where we can.
Okay.
We make money by people. It's perception.
Okay.
And when somebody feels that they want to buy something at XYZ, they're going to do it. Well, we are consumers. So therefore, these other countries, they want in on us. We are the ones buying. So ultimately, they are doing business with us. Why? It's a privilege to be able to bring out other countries' merchandise into America.
Right, but it works the other way too, right? Like, we want other people to buy our stuff. We want to export things, right?
Right, but when you think about how much we buy of other people's stuff, if we made that stuff, and I heard, again, coffee, yeah, that's one that ultimately we're screwed there.
Right.
But that's one, to me, that they should be charged a tariff because they're doing business. Our businesses do business in here. They pay taxes on everything that they bring in as profits. So therefore, if we're going to go ahead and let other businesses in other countries sell to us, they need to be taxed.
But isn't the goal
making money off American people?
Isn't the goal that we want to sell as much of our stuff to the rest of the world as we can, and that we just don't want these trade barriers either way, right? We would prefer to have free markets, right?
But a free market, we have to treat it both ways. American companies and foreign countries and entities
but
need to be treated the same.
And I agree with that. Like, so if they don't have a tariff, then we shouldn't charge a tariff, right?
No.
We shouldn't. So then why are we doing that?
No, we should.
We should.
You completely, don't go there.
So
again,
it's not trade reciprocity that you want. It's we're going to tax you.
If we are taxing our American businesses to do business with Americans,
right,
then these other businesses coming into our market, they take jobs,
right,
and they reduce the amount of profit our American businesses can.
But who pays the tariff?
America first.
Scott, help me. I hear you, but who pays that tariff when I get it. You're like saying, well, this company over in China, we'll use China as an example. They want to sell into America, and that we can't tax them over in China, but we're taxing our companies in the United States, so it's not fair. So we need to tax. We need a tariff. Well, who pays the tariff?
Yes. The company does.
That's not true.
Hold on. It may not be true the way it looks, but that's why Trump is in office. We are the biggest business in the world. We're a business.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Scott, but help me understand. You told me that the company in China pays the tariff.
No, I said they need to.
But they don't.
That's their problem. Therefore, get out of our market. We need to start making the stuff here.
But the who pays the tariff? First. It's the company in the United States that imported it, right? That we can tax, right?
Hey, hold on. I love a debate and everything else, but with you, have a great day, because it really just comes down to America first. We need to take care of America. We don't need everything from overseas. Yes, the people want certain stuff. Well, if they want certain stuff and
we
they
should tax
pay
them
for something coming over there, we're going to have to do that. We tax the country.
We're taxing the country. I got it. The United States. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. I get it. In 2482 says companies eat the tariffs. And so far, that's true. But it's American companies that are importing stuff. I'll use one that it's a company that I buy stuff from, Fabletics. They have a tariff surcharge now because they import stuff from China. And so I pay a tax, and it's me, right? And that company that's here, they're taxed by the government too. So nobody in China ever pays any tax. And that's what I'm trying to, I guess, understand a little bit better. We got to take a break. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. Welcome back. We've got a few minutes, and I'll tell you what, Sandra made a very fair take after listening to our discussion. She said a tariff is a consumption tax, and I've got no problem with that. We choose to pay it. Wish the whole country was based on a consumption tax so it'd never have to file a return again. Okay, cool. I mean, that's certainly a reasonable position, and it's an honest one. It's saying, yeah, these are trade taxes. It's a consumption tax. If you want to buy these goods, they're going to cost you more. So when you shop at Walmart, if they're importing something from China, it's going to cost you more. That we're paying to buy stuff. So it's a consumption tax. So I appreciate that. That is an honest take. And there are a ton of conservatives who say, you know what? We think that materialism is something that's bad, so let's tax consumption and not income because we think income generation is good. That is a coherent policy take, and I like that a lot. Joe has been super patient, and he wants to talk about TikTok. Joe, you got a couple minutes. Let's go.
Hey. Yeah, how you doing, Cameron?
I'm doing good, Joe.
Hey, as far as the tariffs, it's like the previous caller had said, I understand what President Trump is trying to do with them. And we're kind of in a middle area in the United States because we're in a lot of trouble when you look at our debt.
Yeah, we are.
And so when you look at that it's a consumption tax, if it's bringing money into the government, and my take is if they would throw that money directly to the debt, I'm okay with it. I'll take the pain for a while.
But so I hear you, but like this is what we've been telling Democrats forever is they say, well, we want to tax this, we want to tax that, we want to tax this, we want to do all this stuff when they don't get spending. And we have a spending problem, not a tax problem. Is that fair?
Right. Well, that was my second part is the problem really comes down to Congress because what my hope when Trump won the presidency, my hope was they were going to pass the bill, the big, beautiful bill. It's going to have some things you don't like in it, some things I don't like in it. But it would get us to a point to where Congress would say, okay, now we are going to do a balanced budget right now.
Right.
And if the government shuts down, so be it. Let it shut down for forever and ever because my goal, my hope anyway, was that we would have
Hey, Joe, do you mind holding for me and I can get back to you? We got to take a break.
Okay.
All right, we'll get back to Joe. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.